Hey, it's me. Welcome back. It's been a few weeks since I did a Fireside chat. I was doing pretty regular, had them down to about once a week, and then a bunch of stuff came up. It got kind of quiet, and then I got into doing floor moves and making socially distant aisle situations. And then Facebook melted down, and thank you, Zuckerberg. You decided to do an update in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, I'm trying to like communicate with you guys, and it's the only way one of the main ways I get my word out. And so that was frustrating going to computer stores to try and phone stores first, and still messed up on my phone a little. But had a computer guy who the first day he kind of said, I don't know what I can do, clean the computer. And then the next day he called me back because somebody else had the same problem and they figured it out. So thank you very much. You know who you are. So, anyway, I just want to go through a little bit of what's going on. Today is May 25th, 2020. A bunch of new releases coming out today. First big day in a while. And then, really, like next week, a week from today, June 5th, is the soft opening day that the governor is allowing non essential businesses to do. So we've been sort of doing a little curbside, but I still would like to continue with that when possible because if you know what you want, you don't have to come in and you can pay for it over the phone or whatever. It just makes more sense. But if you'd like to come in, I know that there are a lot of people that would like to. I can't blame them. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a limited situation at first, okay? Masks will be required, and they must be worn covering your nose and mouth, okay? Unless you're 3 years old, I shouldn't have to explain that to you, why that is. Hand sanitizer, you'll probably want to do that before you start browsing and then once you're finished. I'll have a little bit here, I don't know for how long or how much, and so you might want to you probably a lot of you carry it with yourselves now anyway. So, and unless you're choosing to wear gloves and then whatever situation you're doing there. So, I have an immune compromised person at home. If you have been through a situation where you've seen somebody go through a near death experience and come out the other side, and you're very grateful that they made it through, the last thing you want to do is be bringing something like this home to them. And I don't really want to catch it myself either. Think about it, I've already been closed for 13 weeks. I don't need to close the store for another 4 to 6 weeks while I recover. You know, I don't want to end up in a hospital either. So there's a lot of considerations. Anyway, so we'll probably keep about the same store hours that we are now, which is like 11 to 5. I would count on like Tuesday through Saturday for sure. I may start saying like, please only people 50 and older for the first hour, just so if they want to feel kind of safer about browsing and things like that. But I am going to limit the occupancy of the store to 4 people at first, including me, and that's going to be a pretty hard set limit. So, and the reason for that I think has been fairly explained in the media, but I am going to limit the time also to about 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops browsing. That's going to be the hard thing because I usually have had people who like to come in and talk, come in and browse for an hour, 2 hours. So you're going to have to be on your own time clock and see what's going on there. We just want to limit the exposure time, I think. So now that means if somebody is out front waiting to get in, you're going to have to also be kind of so that person can come in because they might be a little bit perturbed if they have to wait for too long. It's really only fair. I don't want to have to go to an appointment situation, and I don't want to be a doctor's office. We might have to do that. I don't think there's going to be that many people wanting to get in here right away. Everybody's sort of still in this sort of socially distant mindset, so it's going to be a little while before things kind of feel even close to normal again, and then who knows? We don't even know if the college is returning this fall yet, so it could still be slow for the rest of the year. We don't know what's happening with any of the, you know, commerce and finance that they bring to the town, and you don't know if we're going to have another wave of this in the fall. So a lot of unknowns. Anyway, all right, I think that's sort of enough of that, but if you would like to place an order, I've gone through all of this before, phone, email, instant messaging through Facebook. I'll accept phone payments for curbside pickup. And anyway, if you have questions, just give us an email or something. Let me get on to some of the new stuff that came out today that might be of interest to some of you. So, there were a couple big releases. Let me grab these here. I would say the biggest new release today, size-wise, is probably the new Rush Permanent Waves box set. This is the ultimate huge edition that has several vinyl copies and discs as well, and books and things like that. There's a smaller vinyl that's like around 70, and then I think that there's the, over here I've got like the little double CD, which will probably suffice for most people. But if you're a hardcore Rush fan, you know, those others are really cool. I would say let me know if you want them ordered, because those big ones are going to be on just sort of a order by only basis. Same thing with some of these titles here. We've got the new Prince. This is the One Night Alone Live. This is the deluxe vinyl. It's a 4-record set. That's been out on CD like 20 years ago. The cool stuff. Oh, and also this came out, which is the Rainbow Children, which is his semi-jazzy album. I never personally got into this record. That's just my personal taste, but some people love it. So, and it's on clear vinyl with a rainbow slip mat. A couple other really cool things though. The after show, which is the stuff that came after that live show. It Ain't Over. That's stuff with the NPG. I think he covers, I'm not sure what is that exactly on this. Looks like they truncated it or something. And then the piano live, which is supposedly the stuff that was from before the show. So anyway, those are all available, as is. If you're just sort of like a more layperson and you're like, the CD's fine with me, it's got all 5 discs in there, so that's kind of cool. Couldn't pass up the new Jimmy Buffett. That's a CD. The vinyl doesn't come out until August. This is cool. Little Bill Withers box set. It's got all 9 of the albums that he did for Sussex and Columbia in one. It's around like $40, $45. Not too bad. Let's see, what else came out? Oh! I got stuff all over the place. The new Lady Gaga, Chromatica. Well, this is a really cool looking vinyl piece. I mean, it looks nothing like the CD that came out with it, which CD is more like the conventional sort of cover. But anyway, those are really awesome. What else? What else? Oh! I don't have it here in front of me, but the new Mac Miller came out today. Circles is on vinyl finally, and we're running a contest. So if you decide you're going to buy a Mac Miller, you will be entered to win. You have to make a purchase here, and I'm not going to be doing like shipping at all. So this is just for local folks. Sorry, but you get a Mac Miller t-shirt for Circles. This is if you win the contest. We'll do the drawing in a couple weeks. The other thing is that they sent out the album, a test pressing on vinyl, which is way cool coming from the label. Apparently, like, you know, those of you who don't know what a test pressing is, you might want to sort of familiarize yourself. This is basically the first pressing that they did of the record to make sure that, you know, the sound quality was sort of up to snuff. So those are collectible and cool. Other things that we had recently come out was the new King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. This is actually Chunky Shrapnel, which is a live record, and it says it's on black and gold vomit splatter vinyl, whatever that means. So, and then the pink vinyl edition has still got a couple of these left of the new car seat headrest, which is really a cool record. It's much more sort of like produced sounding, but in a good way. It's weird how, at one point they sort of had this issue with a Cars sample on one of their albums, and this one actually sounds more like the Cars, weirdly. A couple other things that came out recently that might be of interest. I know there's the new Boomtown Rats record. That's the first one that has come out in like 35 years, I guess. That's the gold edition. So if you're a Bob Geldof fan, it's an interesting record. Also, Gentle Giant just did a whole series of reissues. The first four, I think it's this one, Octopus, Three Friends, and I can't remember the other one. The one with the tongue on the cover. Anyway, those are pretty cool. And also the Everything But the Girl, their final album, Temperamental, half speed mastered at Abbey Road. It's a great record and was the last one that they did as a duo before they decided to start doing solo projects. So, what's coming out soon? Next week, there's not much. We have Fish, Junta, some kind of splattery color vinyl of that if you're a Fish fan. Still no word on the new one, Sigma Oasis, as to when that's going to be out physically. There's a Dion from Dion and the Belmonts days, but everybody who knows Dion now knows he's a great blues guy and great guitarist, and so he's got an album of duets. The following week, just going to run down a few of these. Liam Gallagher's MTV Unplugged. It's got a really cool looking vinyl edition of that. The 1975, which is already out on CD, but the vinyl comes out that week. Norah Jones has a new one, Built to Spill. Their Daniel Johnston covers. Jenny Beth of Savages. Peter Gabriel's movie album, songs that he did for soundtracks that came out like a year ago for Record Store Day, and they're putting it out for everybody now. I think it was a picture disc before, so now it'll just be regular vinyl and CD. And Jenny Beth of Savages, her solo record. Oh, and also the Warren Zevon Life Will Kill Ya reissue on vinyl. I think it's the first time that album's been on vinyl, so that ought to be interesting. June 19th, big day, Neil Young's Homegrown, an album he did in 1975 and shelved it. Some of those songs ended up on other albums. I think this is sort of a similar situation to Hitchhiker that came out a few years ago. But fans will love that. And Phoebe Bridgers' new record. And then Bob Dylan's new record, his first of original songs in 9 years. And I'm not exactly sure if the vinyl is coming out that day or just a CD. They haven't actually posted the info on the vinyl yet. It looks like it might be delayed somewhat, probably due to COVID. Then June 26th, Haim's record that had been bumped. And the big thing on the 26th is the Rolling Stones, their new 10-inch single, a vinyl. It's on like a colored record. The other thing is that the Stones are reissuing all of their albums post Sticky Fingers. And they're all Abbey Road half-speed mastered editions. And they're separate. They're not in a box set. The only one that they're leaving out is Goat's Head Soup because apparently they're doing an anniversary edition of that soon. They had originally left out Sticky Fingers, Exile on Main Street, and Some Girls, probably because those were already out in the market, and they've since decided to add those into the program as well. So, it'll be a chance for you to get things like Black and Blue, Emotional Rescue, Tattoo You, if you want like a fresh copy of those with the Abbey Road half-speed mastering. I mean, I don't know how many people are really like into Dirty Work and Undercover, but things like Steel Wheels and some of the more recent ones, Bridges to Babylon, Voodoo Lounge, Bigger Bang, those will all be in. And so a lot of people will want those because they are hundreds of dollars online. So some of them. July 3rd, the Sparks album that had been released, supposed to come out mid-May, and the physical editions will be then, and so will the new Willie Nelson that had been pushed back. And then, of course, I've mentioned many times, July 17th, Fiona Apple's record, finally, which has been streaming for a while, and the Pretenders' new album, too. The thing with the Fiona also there was announced after the first announcement that there will be a colored vinyl edition for indie stores as well. So we will also have that. And then August 29th is the beginning of the record store day drops for 3 months. So gear up for that. We're gonna have a plan by then. I'm still trying to figure out what that plan is, but it's kind of coming into shape now. So and the list for those things, for at least the first one, should appear sometime soon after June 1st. Maybe June 1st. So it might be even in the next few days, couple days, you'll start seeing the initial lists for that. So, awesome. Okay. Look, it's hard to get excited about stuff like this when there's so much chaos going on in the world. And I just want to say my heart goes out to all the folks and communities that are dealing with just horrible things happening right now. Many of my relatives are from the Minneapolis area, and it breaks my heart seeing this kind of thing happening there. And you add coronavirus on top of it, and it's just tough for everybody. And look, I just want to say a few words. I really miss you guys a lot, and I do want to see all of you. I don't know if I want to see all of you in the first week, but I think that this has been just something we're always going to remember and sort of hang around our necks as not as a mask, but as a sort of a reminder of how fragile the world is and how things can get out of control so easily. And I just hope that people start developing more of a conscience about some of these things. There's an awful lot of cavalier, sort of blasé attitudes out there. And, it's all fun and games until something happens to you. And that's the real tragedy of this, is that, people take things for granted. So, as a record store owner, music, it inspires me so much. I've always felt like my situation with being in retail was to facilitate delivering those things to people who were looking for something. Because I knew how much I loved it, and I wanted to share that with other people. And it's been really interesting having my own store for a little over 7 years now, after 30 years of selling records and CDs, because I feel like I've developed even more of a connection with people than I ever had before. And so it's like family. I think if you ask any record store owner, they would probably tell you the same thing unless they're a little bit whacked out, which I guess maybe a lot of record store owners are probably whacked out. But they're gonna tell you that it's the dealing with you guys that's what makes this really special. And I don't know. It's funny. I look back at records I bought when I was a kid, and I know exactly where I bought them, what I was doing. I might not remember exactly how much unless it was some kind of like odd situation or whatever. But those things they kind of stay with you, and I maybe it seems frivolous to some people, but if you're in it, you understand why. It's like a connection for you, and I don't know. Especially, I think if you're a musician or you appreciate music, that you really get it. It's not like you're using it as like the wallpaper to your life. It is more like the soundtrack of your life. So anyway, I've kind of rambled enough. I just want everyone to stay safe and healthy. This was a long message, but there was a lot to cover. Luke Spiller says, "Stay healthy." That one just came in the struts. I mean, he looks awesome, right? I love the shoes. It's almost like a Freddie Mercury look in a way, but mixed with Elton John or something more rocked. I sold out of the Rivers Cuomo, but I'll try and get that one back in because that was pretty cool too. So anyway, everybody take care, stay safe, be well. I'll probably start seeing some of you in person in another week or two. If you don't come in for like another month, I'll understand. If you want me to ship things to you, I'll understand. But I'm going to keep sanitizing, gloves, mask, whatever. Certainly, can't be too careful yet. Just don't let down your guard. Okay, enough seriousness. Take care, be well, have a great day. Bye.